And then, of course, once I dropped the weight of the of the old relationship, everything just like went boom. I hired my first assistant. I got the contract with Wiley. I started speaking here. It was just like the universe going, let's make some gold out of it.
We're all about turning a crappy situation into something positive.
$250,000 of credit card debt.
I still remember the day when no one turned up.
Throw it in the garbage and start from scratch.
I could give myself a chance, so I started something.
I mean, I think that counts as from poop to gold.
Our sponsor for this episode is our 14-day video script challenge.
Yes, we are sponsoring our own show.
Yes, we are. Welcome back, everyone, to From Poop to Gold. I'm Daniel Harmon, Chief Creative Officer at Harmon Brothers. My guest today is Viveka von Rosen.
Hello.
Welcome on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm like poopy thrilled to be here.
Oh, okay. Great. We're starting off on the right foot. So Viveka is a LinkedIn expert. You've written a few books on it.
A few books on it, yeah.
You've made some Forbes lists, I understand, as well. Yeah, you've got
early on when there wasn't much competition.
No, I'm sure you've done fantastic. But anyway, give our audience a little bit of your background and how you've ended up at this place where you are this, uber LinkedIn person and really out there teaching everybody on how to use the platform well.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, so I'm a little bit of a serial entrepreneur, and I was kind of at a state in my life, I was selling cars, where I was like, this can't be all there's meant to be in life. And
used cars or new cars?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. At least they were Toyotas, that's all I say. At least they were Toyotas.
At least you could feel something behind that, right?
Exactly. And actually, I sold a car to somebody who said, hey, you should work for our business. And that's when I started into the co-share space, where I discovered I'm really bad at managing people, but I really loved helping our other entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and business owners with marketing and networking. Now this is, 2002, 2003, 2004, so it's pre-social networking-ish.
So you learned about yourself. I'm a good teacher. I'm a good mentor. I'm a bad manager.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah,
Exactly.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so it was really exciting because one of the things I got to do is bring in speakers, and I brought someone in who spoke about Web 2.0 and the whole idea of the interactive web, which was, that shows you how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And, the fact that the website could interact with the user, which is now the modern buyer. But anyway, back then.
So is that early 2000s?
This is early 2000s, right? And so they introduced me to LinkedIn at the very end of the presentation, and I just was like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. And then fast forward, 20 or 15 years and here we are.
Yeah.
But it was a matter of good timing. I saw the potential. There weren't many women or any women teaching and training on it at the time. An association we were a member of was like, oh, that's really cool. We should learn that too. So they helped to spark my career. And the thing about social media, I think, that hasn't changed is the mentorship.
Yes.
And so Mari Smith became a mentor. Bob Berg became a mentor. Trey Pennington, who's no longer with us, was a mentor to me. And they really helped support me in my travels through LinkedIn. And I played around when Twitter came out. I played around with it for a little while, and Facebook, of course. But I've always returned back to LinkedIn because it made more sense to me. And I think it's almost the most honest platform for a business.
Yes.
Because I don't think they figured out how to use ads quite effectively yet.
Yeah.
So when they do,
so
we'll probably
change.
we might have to paid play. But for right now, you put good stuff out there, it gets enough engagement, it gets amplified.
Yeah. Very much so.
I love about it.
And I found the same thing on LinkedIn, that I have a little bit more of a natural voice there.
Yes.
Than what I've had on Facebook and Instagram. Not that I don't love them and YouTube and everything for all their own reasons, but like you said, LinkedIn it's just been a much more natural fit for me personally.
Yes.
And it's also been very resilient, because at the beginning, a lot of people just loved the idea of being able to connect to each other online in a business network.
Exactly.
And that was novel in and of itself, but then it's having very much a revival, and it's becoming a very legitimate content platform.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because it was all about being an open networker and accepting everyone into your network. Yeah. And now we've realized spammers also figured that one out too.
Yeah.
But to your point, it was really exciting in the beginning. And then there were some dark days where everything was shut down and they took out all the good features, and we were kind of like, But I think with Microsoft buying it, they've infused a lot of new features. And to your point, you know, we've got video, we've got live, we've got, you know, just a more natural, I think, algorithm.
Yes.
So it's pretty exciting for content.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So now you're here, you're this super LinkedIn queen. I'm going to call you that. I don't know if you've ever been called that. But,
That's my friend Ava, but that's okay.
okay. Well, anyway, LinkedIn specialist. Tell us a little bit about your poopy moment.
My poopy moment.
Yeah, from when things got really crappy for you before they got better.
So, you know, oversharing here. My first LinkedIn business, I started it, but then I very quickly hooked up, and I do mean hooked up, with this other guy. And we had an agency together, and then he hooked up with our business partner, and I do mean hooked up. And I found out about it. Oh yeah, by the way, we were engaged. And it was a really, I'm so grateful. It was
just a whole soap opera.
It's a whole soap opera.
This is a straight script out of a film.
It really was, and everyone knew except for me because I am a blonde, and you know, actually she is too. But anyway, everyone knew about it, and then I was just about to sign the lease on an apartment for us and move from Fort Collins to Denver, and someone I know said, no, really, Viveka, don't do it. You know, he really is having an affair with her and cheating on you straight up. And so it was really hard because, you know, obviously stepped out of that business, stepped out of my home, stepped out of my relationship. And I was kind of like, well, crap, now what? You know, and it was really interesting, coincidence, universe, whatever you want to call it. Two friends of mine who are also in LinkedIn at the time, they had no idea because this was before we shared everything online. And they reached out and said, hey, what are you doing? Are you interested in working with us? Like two separate people, Jason Alba and Nate Kievman. And I was just like, do they know? How do they know? You know, but they didn't. It was just coincidence. And so it let me know that my life wasn't over. And then of course, once I dropped the weight of the of the old relationship, everything just like went boom. I hired my first assistant. I got the contract with Wiley. I started speaking here. So you know, it was just like the universe going, all right, I know we gave you some poop, but you know, let's make some gold out of it. And and it's been great ever since then. And it's a great learning lesson for me too.
It's so interesting when you're describing that situation. That sometimes we hold on so dearly to the way things are. And don't want to embrace change. And then when we finally can make that decision and realize it's a little bit of a sunk cost fallacy, right?
Yes, exactly.
All this time into this relationship. I put all this investment or whatever into this business or whatever it is. And then once you can kind of step back from it and realize there is actually a better way forward. And I don't have to have this drag me down. It's amazing how that can free things up. It
really is. It really is. And it's such a life lesson, and it's not just about work, it's about everything, you know, and you just, and your spirit knows. Your spirit knows this is the right step, and it's the ego or whatever that's holding back. But once you finally let go, you really skyrocket.
You're really free to fly. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the term sunk cost fallacy, it's basically like, oh, I put all this money or this time into something, and so therefore I can't let it go. But that doesn't necessarily, that's just a complete lie. You totally can move forward.
You can, and the time and effort, and maybe not some of the money, that's lost forever. But the learning lessons that you get from those relationships are really not sunk costs after all. You know, because hopefully you don't have to do that again.
That's right. So let's give our viewers a little bit of strategy for LinkedIn. Okay, so you've been teaching about this recently. What is the latest and greatest? What would you say are, I guess, maybe 3 tips to really live by on LinkedIn? Okay, perfect. So LinkedIn recently changed its algorithm, and now it's really more about quality over quantity. So to your point, back when LinkedIn first started, we were all connecting with as many people as we could, which was about 4.3 million people at the time. Now you can have that in your network. But the problem is when you're sharing content on LinkedIn, the new algorithm's looking at the engagement as opposed to the number. So if I have 30,000 people in my network, but only 300 people are engaging,
it's the percentage isn't high enough for LinkedIn to say, okay, so we should amplify this to the rest of the community.
Okay.
If I have 300 connections and 30 people are connecting or are engaging, LinkedIn is going to say, oh, cool, let's show this to more people because it's getting engagement. So it doesn't matter how many connections you have as long as they're engaged connections. So the first thing I recommend doing is go out and clean out your connections. Not all of them, don't get rid of all of them, but get rid of the, the recruiters from India who might have reached out to you in 2005. If you're not looking for a job, there's no reason to have those people connected, especially if they don't engage. So have a really clean network. Obviously have a good brand.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually the first thing that you should do is make sure that your profile looks good, because we know when you get on Google and type in a person's name or the company name or even a product or service, sometimes the LinkedIn profile pops up. And so they're going to look at it, right? More buyers are searching LinkedIn and researching the vendors than sellers are researching their buyers, which makes no sense to me. It should be the other way around. But the modern buyers absolutely, I think 62% is the number, researching your profile on LinkedIn before they're reaching out to you. So you've got to look good. You got to have a clean audience, and then you have to share content that's relevant to them, not just sales pitches the whole time.
Very good.
Right.
So I like that. So tips on cleaning up the profile. What would you say? What pointers would you give people on crafting a really tight, nice profile?
Yeah, so a background image that's interesting, number one. A lot of people either they'll pull something from their website that doesn't quite fit, you know, the words are bleeding off the page or their head's covering, their tagline or something like that.
So specific to that real estate.
Specific to that real estate. I've got a template on vigressobanner.com. It's free. You just download it, SlideShare. But it'll give you the latest templates for the personal profiles and for the company pages. But that background image is the first thing people see. A picture that actually looks like you.
Okay.
Right? Because, and I don't want to piss off our realtors. Right, exactly. Or leaning against the Ferrari. I make these millions of dollars. Don't ignore the Ferrari sign in the back. So, just something in a close-up and smiling is good. So that when you go to a conference or a trade show or you're meeting your client for the first time across Zoom, with touch up my appearance, that you actually look like clarity, right?
Yeah, that it's an instant translation.
It's an instant translation, and you don't want to lose any kind of trust that you've built by looking different. Or if you're going to do video on LinkedIn, there's this 1988 picture of you, and then there's ancient you doing the video, and there's a disconnect there. So you need to look like yourself. The headline should not be title at company. It should be a description of who you serve and how you help them. No matter what you do, you don't have to be a salesperson to help people, right? And so how you do it, what makes you different. And then
those are the first words they see. Description of who you serve and what was it?
And how you help and how you serve them, right? So, and then the about section is just an expansion upon that. And what we always say is your profile should be a resource to your buyer, not a resume. And so many, we're in the sales industry, and so many of the resumes or the profiles we come across are quota question sales guy. And skull and crossbones in the background image. Really? That's the image you want to portray? No, I don't want you to say, sell me anything. So just making your profile more of a resource and authentically a resource is
more of a sales funnel.
It is a sales. It's a very simple, because you're really limited to what you can do, but it becomes a sales page. Absolutely right.
Awesome. Love those tidbits for our audience. So networking principles on LinkedIn. How are they different and how are they similar to real life?
So I think they're very aligned with real life. And LinkedIn says only connect to people
do you know Marcus Murphy?
Yes.
He
love
preaches
Marcus.
a little bit of the same thing.
Exactly. No, Marcus is great. So you're not going to hopefully go to an event like Social Media Marketing World with a handful of business cards with a paper bag over your head going, buy my stuff, buy it. Right. And yet on LinkedIn, that's what people do, right? You can't see their picture because of their settings, or they don't have an image. They're barely dressed as far as their profile, and they're trying to shove their business down your throat. You would never do that in real life. So please don't do that on LinkedIn. And I know LinkedIn says only connect to people you know. I might mind only connect to people you should know. right?
I like
or should
that.
know you,
I like
right?
that, yeah.
And that's not everybody.
Yep, it isn't everybody.
Especially with the new algorithm as far as content.
Yeah, what we were saying, clean out your network.
Clean out your
Make
network.
it so it's really people that are going to be responsive to you and that you want to be responsive to.
Exactly. It's interesting for me because I've been very, very marketing focused for the past 12 years, and then we started our new business, which is very sales focused. And of course, we want to marry marketing and sales, so it's not like it's apples and oranges, but I am noticing a shift in my network, and there are some people who are getting cleaned out and some people who are being brought in.
Yeah.
But you have to be strategic about who you connect with now.
Very smart. So clearly, all these platforms are updating like quarterly, if not more often.
Yeah.
How are they supposed to stay on the forefront of that with LinkedIn?
Well, don't buy my book because it's like almost 10 years old now because it's in print, so it's immediately out of date. No, really follow some of the LinkedIn influencers. Of course, please feel free to follow me.
Follow
but
Viveka for
there's
sure.
Ted Prodman, I can never say Ted's last name, sorry, Prodman 2, Bryn Tillman, Marcus, of course, Murphy. I'm a LinkedIn learning author. Oh, Michaela Alexis is awesome, and also Goldie Chan.
Judy Fox.
Judy Fox is great. Yeah. It's actually a really small world, and we all like each other.
That's good.
Andy Foote is another one.
Okay.
So follow the LinkedIn voices, but also get on LinkedIn Learning. They're very adamant about keeping their library up to date. So in fact, I'm redoing 2 of my courses right now because they're just a hair out of date. So you can learn things there. Of course, go to our website, vengresso.com, if you're interested in sales.
So LinkedIn Learning for LinkedIn.
Yeah. LinkedIn,
Because I know they do a lot of, I've been mostly exposed to LinkedIn Learning for learning other skills.
Right.
Like,
But they have a whole learning.
All that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, they also have a LinkedIn section, so that's worth doing too.
Very cool.
And of course, LinkedIn's blog.
Yep.
They're usually 2 or 3 weeks late in sharing what's new, but it's better than 2 or 3 years, right?
Yes. Far better. That's not too long of a lag.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, love it. I think we're going to wrap up. So
All right.
where should our audience look you up?
Cool. So the easiest thing is just Google LinkedIn expert, and hopefully it's Google and LinkedIn are still having a good relationship by the time this airs. I'm Viveka von Rosen, so my LinkedIn profile is usually first, second, or third thing that shows up. Thank you, Google. And you can always reach out to us at Vengresso, Vengreso. A lot of alliteration there. I'm the Chief Visibility Officer at Vengresso. My name is Viveka. So just a bunch of V's. Just search V's
go.
on Google. You should find us.
Yeah.
But yeah, please reach out. Let me know you saw this. And I would be more than happy to connect with you.
Awesome.
I mean, as long as you're in my network.
There you go. and as long as you'll engage with her content.
Exactly. As long as you'll engage with my content, we're good. We're good.
That's right. Thank you so much for coming on, Viveka.
Awesome.
It's been
Thank
a lot
you
of
so
fun.
much.
Very great story from poop to gold.
Lots of poop.
You've been a great guest. So thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you on the next one.
As entrepreneurs and small businesses, we all kind of reach that point where we know we've created something awesome and we want to share it with the world, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that very next step that can oftentimes be really intimidating or really scary, or you just don't know where to go next, right? And the beautiful thing about this 14-day script challenge is you get your hand held from, okay, you have this cool product, now let's go research and find the exact way to present it and message it to the world in a way that resonates and gets people excited and they're ready to swipe their credit card and purchase. And in the 14-day script challenge, you get the opportunity to go through that step by step with our writers who have done it dozens and dozens of times.
You actually watch us go through each of the steps ourselves and create it with a real client, a real product, and it's a real campaign that's out there that's been very successful.
That's right. And the feedback that we've had on this thing has just been phenomenal. I mean, we get comment after comment and emails flowing in from people all over the world who have just raved about the impact that this has had on their business.
People tell us over and over again, it is just a huge value punch for the investment for this 14-day script challenge, and really gave them the tool set they needed to walk through it and make it happen.
And we've had dozens of students who have successfully taken the challenge, written their script, launched their ad campaigns, and driven success for their business. It's pretty amazing.
For more information, go to hbros.co/script. That's hbros.co/script.